Uh, Let me quickly talk about the US-Iran hostility and how it all started. Because many people always want to, be clever by uh, spewing all sort of analysis that doesn't really add up. And I must say that it is wrong, and in fact, it is completely and absolutely wrong to assume or to assert that the US and Iran hostility, including Israel, began with the 1979 hostage crisis or the break in diplomatic ties under President Jimmy Carter of the United States. Many people always want to reference that 1979 issue, but that's a fallacy. It's a blatant lie, and in fact, it's hypocrisy. It stinks. The issue between the US and Iran does not start in 1979. Just because I don't want to bother you with too much historical perspective and too much jargons, then I can just limit it to 1953. So it is widely accepted, it is widely known almost everywhere in the world that the root of US-Iran hostility began or can be traced back to 1953. And what happened in 1953? There was a very significant incident. Then, what happened then was that the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States, that's the CIA, and the British intelligence service known as the MI6, overthrew the popularly democratically elected Prime Minister of Iran, known as Mohammed Mosadegh. What exactly was the offense of this man? Why is it that the US and Britain did not want him in power? Why? The answer is not far-fetched. It is all because of oil. And you know what Mosadegh did? He attempted to nationalize Iranian oil to benefit the common Iranians. And as a result of that, the US CIA and the British MI6 overthrew the government and supported the consolidation of power and the return to power of the Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. That's the West for you. See, when the West is talking about fundamental human rights, you should know and you should understand that they are coming from political convenience. Fundamental human rights or supporting or promoting fundamental human rights for the West is always from the angle of political convenience. It is never because of the people of Iran. It is never because of the common people. It is always because of some resource or resources. It is because someone in your government is threatening their interests. And you know what? The West supported the Shah, the monarch, despite the fact that the monarch or the Shah ruled with iron fists. What did I say again? He ruled with iron fists. Dissidents were jailed. Oppositions were either disappeared or killed. Any serious or significant threat to his authority were met with brutal force. But he remains the friends and loyalists, and he remains a loyal ally, a very close ally to the West. Because of what? Because he is protecting, or he was protecting, their strategic and economic interests. It's as simple as ABC. The West doesn't care about the common people. Who are you? You're not relevant to the scheme of things. The West only care about what they stand to gain. And when I'm talking about the West, let me be emphasizing it. I'm particularly talking about the United States. Although with their other allies in the Western Hemisphere, like Britain, like France, like Germany, and so on and so forth. So this is what happened. This was what happened. But by 1979, there was growing dissatisfaction, widespread dissatisfaction with the Shah's rule against the Shah of Iran. And that was what led to a popular revolution, which was led by Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. Right? So, and it resulted in the establishment or the emergence of the Islamic Republic of Iran. So, new governments were in place. These ones were hardliners who doesn't support or respect any boundaries of the West. So the West sees them as a threat, right? So in that 1979, an incident also occurred. Iranian students shut down the American embassy and took American diplomats hostage. So the current president, the then president, Jimmy Carter, tried to rescue the American diplomats, but the rescue mission failed when American helicopters crashed in the Iranian desert. So, and as a result of that, it jeopardized the return to power of Jimmy Carter. And Ronald Reagan won the election. The hostages were later released in the early days of Ronald Reagan's administration. But the fact that American diplomats were taken hostages in 1979 by Iranian students has already dealt a big blow to the Americans, and they've seen it as a national humiliation. And since then, they've harbored this sentiment, this sit-tight hatred for the Iranians. And it has been there since then. So, as I said, the hostages were later released, but Americans now see it as a national humiliation, and they see the Iranians as a threat to their interests. And what is that their interest? Don't forget, we are talking about resources. We are talking about oil. They want to have a stake in Iranian oil. They don't want any state to control their own resources. That's bad. But that's from the angle of morality. We're not talking about morality here. We're talking about international relations. Let's stick to that. Morality will be a discussion for another day. Right? So, in the years to follow, the tension deepened, especially when the US supported Iraq, Saddam Hussein, in the war against Iran. The same Saddam Hussein that they killed, that they later toppled, the West supported him in the war he waged against Iran. Iran later went for a ceasefire, but that already reshaped the geopolitical status of the Middle East. So, without any doubt, that situation contributed significantly to the current tension that we're witnessing today all over the Middle East. However, some analysts have argued, and their arguments holds water. They have argued that this current tension we're witnessing is as a result of the fact of the creation of Greater Israel, in the sense that Israel wants to be the only state to control, to influence every decision and everything that goes on within the Middle East. Hence, the reason why they tell you they don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. That is from the point of power play. Balance of power, balance of terror. I don't want to go into conceptual clarification today, but I'm just telling you what is obtainable. So, if I don't want to take it from a realist perspective, from realist standpoint, based on international research student that I am, I will tell you that the international system is anarchical in the sense that there is no central governing authority managing and controlling the affairs of states and the behaviors of states within the international system. Hence, power is the only currency that is obtainable in the international system, and interest is what defines state behavior. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. I hope you get the point that the war in Iran is not to promote or to fight for the fundamental human rights of Iranians, but for resource control and power projection. Thank you, and God bless you. See you next time.